So we move on to the main event. Really excited about this one. This one's Frankie the Answer Edgar versus Pedro the Young Punisher Munhoz, although he's not really that young anymore. This fight they've been trying to make for a long time. It's been rescheduled 4 times. So they were supposed to originally fight on July 11th. Then they were supposed to fight on July 15th. Then they were supposed to fight on August 15th. Then, now finally they're fighting tomorrow on August 22nd. Yeah. So this is the 4th time that this fight's been rescheduled. You have Frankie Edgar, the former 155-pound champion who successfully defended it 3 times against Gray Maynard and BJ Penn. 2 of those defenses were against Gray Maynard. One of them was a draw. You don't lose the belt when it's a draw, so it's a successful defense. He's an American, 23. He's 23, 8-1, the one being the draw I just talked about. 38 years old, 5 feet 6 inches tall. He's 17, 8-1 overall in the UFC. So he's been in the UFC for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Former champion, fought fought for the 155-pound belt, won it. Fought for the 145-pound belt. Working on getting ready for a 135-pound belt. Weighed in 135.5 pounds. Then he goes against Pedro Munhoz. So Pedro Munhoz could very easily derail that real fast. So Pedro Munhoz is a Brazilian. He's 18-4. He's 33 years old, 5 feet 6 inches tall. He's 8-4 with 1 no contest in the UFC. But he did go 10-0 before he signed with the UFC. Most recently, he lost a decision to potential title challenger Aljamain Sterling. What do you think about these guys?
Well, you know, it's one of those sad things, you know, when a fighter starts getting up there in age, right? Frankie's 38 years old, and he's been in some wars.
Yes, he has.
You know, there was questions about whether he'd be able to make it down to 135, and people always thought that 145 is where he belonged. You know, they thought he was too small for 155. So when they implemented the 145 division, they thought he should go down there. Eventually, after a couple losses, he went down.
Yeah, they kept trying to convince him. The UFC kept trying to get him to go down beforehand. I don't blame him for not going down, though. You're fighting world championship level at 155 pounds.
Yeah, there's no reason to go down at that point.
The most successful point in his career was at 155 pounds. He lost the belt on a unanimous decision fight that I thought that he won that one. But I know most people think that he didn't win it. So I'm not going to complain it. But then he went and he rematched him again, and he lost a split decision the 2nd time.
Yeah.
So that was against Benson Henderson. You know, goes down. He fights guys like Jose Aldo at 145 pounds. You know, and he's fought nothing but monsters. If you look at his last 3 losses, were to Max Holloway by decision. Or sorry, there's 4 losses there because I'm missing one. But there was the Max Holloway one by decision. The Brian Ortega one by knockout. Lost to Jose Aldo by decision. And lost to Chan Sung Jung by knockout as well. Yeah. But Chan Sung Jung also is a world title fighter.
Yeah, he's right there on the cusp.
He challenged Jose Aldo for the title fight. Lost to Jose Aldo. But, you know, so those are all... 3 of those are former world champions. 1 of them is a world champion title challenger. Those are his last 4 losses.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to take anything away from him because 99% of the world is going to lose to those guys in that weight class.
Yeah, man. I mean, but my thing is if you look at him, he's never been knocked out until he started going down. Yeah. 155 pounds, and he was in some wars, especially those Gray Maynard fights.
Where he got dropped 3 or 4 times, bounces back up.
Yeah, he doesn't have that same thing. And plus, now he's got the age coming in there. He's not as fast as he used to be. He used to be lightning quick.
Fast, yeah.
You used to not be able to find somebody with faster hands than him in the UFC.
Yeah.
And now, you know, he's slowed down a bit. I think the drain down to 135 is slowing him down a bit, too.
Well, this is the first fight at 135.
Yeah.
But it has been a long-term goal to descend down to 35 since he lost the title shot at 45.
Yeah, and then you look at him at 45, though, he looked a bit slower, lost a step there. Now he's going down even 10 more pounds. I think he's going to be a little bit slower at 135, too.
I don't know that he's getting slower or that he's fighting faster people. So you go down to...
Probably a combination of both
because
he's
35
he's
45. Aging. He is aging.
You don't get faster when you get older.
I didn't really think he looked that much slower in that Max Holloway fight, though. I just felt like, you know, Holloway was just better. It was a close fight, but, you know, I mean, I'm just not really... sold on the idea of him really being slower yet, considering the guys that he's fought and that he's lost to. He might be slower, but I think that a lot of it has to come down to the weight class.
Well, that is absolutely going to play a part in it because these smaller guys are all going to be faster. They're just naturally faster guys. So, I mean, when you look at his, though, he's coming down from 145, you know.
Yeah.
First fight at 135. Made the cut, made the weight.
Made the weight. That's the first battle. First battle.
But now you're fighting guys that are naturally fighting and have been fighting at that weight for a long time. So now you're also old. You're 38 now. You've been in some brutal wars. You've taken so much punishment in your career.
Well, Munhoz isn't that big either, though.
Yeah, Munhoz isn't a big dude.
Small but fast.
That's what I'm
destroyer.
saying. So but I'm still talking about Frankie, you know.
Yeah, I know.
So you get there, and now you're fighting guys. Oh, it's just one of those things, man. And, you know, Frankie is a boxer and a wrestler. He's got good wrestling, good boxing.
Yeah.
I think the key to him is if he ever gets back to his wrestling, he could probably start winning at this older age.
Is it what you want to do against Pedro Munhoz, though?
But, yeah, that's the thing. I don't know.
So Frankie Edgar...
I don't know if he wants to stand with Munhoz
Frankie Edgar is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt himself.
Yep.
He's never, ever been submitted. He does a really good job. What got him the title in the first place was he does a really good job of not staying on that center line.
Yeah.
In fights, you don't want to be on that center line. You want to be constantly moving off of it, making it hard for people to hit you. Later, though, he has made himself a little bit more hittable. Guys are faster. Guys are younger than him. You know, all those things. He's got to keep moving himself off that center line, and he's got to keep that head movement going and keep Pedro Munhoz guessing.
Yeah.
You know, he can't stand still, and he's got to have that big gas tank that's pushed him through so many 25-minute fights.
Yeah.
Going down to 35, will he have that gas tank?
Yeah, who knows, man? I mean, when you look at Munhoz, he's lost 4 fights, but all of his 4 losses have come to top-level guys, too.
Yes.
He's not been fighting nobodies, you know?
No.
He's never been finished in any of his fights.
Well, 2 of his losses are split decision losses as well. Those are John Dodson and Jimmy Rivera.
Yeah.
Jimmy Rivera.
Yeah. And where I'm kind of going with this is
top 5 guys, basically.
And when you look at Munhoz, he's got excellent kickboxing, power in both hands. He's a BJJ black belt himself, so these guys, you know, that ground game could be something that's really interesting to see if it happens. You know, and I think if there's anywhere that Pedro struggles, it's with guys that are faster than him. Because if you look at John Dodson, he's one of the fastest strikers out there.
Guys out there, yep.
You look at Jimmy Rivera before he's started to slow down too a little bit with age.
Well, he's also gotten a little bit thicker now too.
Yeah, he has. He's bulked up a bit.
Yeah.
But when you look at these guys, they were a little bit faster than Pedro. So, I mean, he struggled with that speed, but I don't know if Frankie's going to have that speed coming down to 135. Yeah. I don't know if he's going to be the faster guy.
Well, I think the biggest threat, though, in there as well, Frankie does a lot of mixing up his strikes to get in a quick shot and try to take you down.
Yeah.
He's got to be a little bit worried, though, because Munhoz has 6 guillotine submissions.
Absolutely.
So Munhoz knows this. Munhoz has probably studied Frankie, especially considering this fight's been pushed off for the last couple of months.
Yeah, they've probably been watching as much tape as they can.
There's far more tape out there on Edgar than there is Munhoz. Munhoz, there's tape out there, but, you know.
Yeah.
You got a guy out there with 20-plus fights in the UFC. There's a lot more tape on him right now. And against top guys. So you really got to see all the openings, all the holes, all the things that they do really well. Munhoz, he's got a lot of fights in the UFC as well. But I think that there's still more questions there. For Munhoz, we have the ability to see more, even though he's still 33 years old.
Yeah.
So, you know, they say that primes come at different ages for guys. Who knows if Frankie's really hit his prime yet, or if he's on the decline, or if it's just the weight that he's trying to cut. Maybe he goes back up to 55 and finds success again. I mean, I don't really think he's going out there.
I don't think he'll go back to 55.
I don't think he's competing against Khabib or anything like that. But, you know, there was a time when other guys were champions.
Yeah, that 55 division you don't want to be. If you're not a top guy in that division, you don't want to be there. That division is stacked, dude. Dustin, Diamond, Poirier, Khabib, Conor, if he actually ever decides to come back. Who knows what's going on with that. But you got Tony Ferguson. At this stage in Frankie's career, I am seeing him on the downcline, you know. He's never been knocked out until he started fighting these lighter guys.
Yeah, and
he fought bigger guys.
We also talked about it could be the cut.
Went through the wars. Yeah, that's what I mean. The cut plays a part in your ability to take a punch.
It could be. It could be. But
So
see.
I have question marks surrounding the cut. He did make the weight, like we said, but I just don't think that 135 is going to be right for him. My pick is Pedro, knockout, round 3.
All right, so we go to the last 2 fights to finally get something different. Out of 9 fights, out of 11 fights, the first 9 we have the same. A little bit different as far as the prediction for who's going to win it and how they're, or not who's going to win it, but how they're going to win it.
Yeah.
Who we got right on 9 of them, the same on 9 of them. I'm going with Frankie Edgar. I think that he's had the upper hand as far as the competition level goes. The guys that he's the only guys that he's really losing to are world championship guys or world championship caliber guys.
Yeah. Munhoz is right there.
Munhoz is right there.
The only problem he faced Aljamain Sterling in his last fight. So.
Well, yeah, but you know what? Though a lot of people don't think that he lost that fight.
Look at Dodson, Rivera, Sterling; those all could have been wins.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been in all of his fights. He's always been a tough guy in all of his fights. But I don't think Dodson's a guy who's moving up to 45 and doing well.
No.
I don't think that, I think Aljamain Sterling could go up to 45 and do well. I don't think he's going to be a champion there. I don't think he's going to be, he might be a top 5 maybe. I don't know. But, Aljo's potentially a challenger.
He's competing. He's getting the belt shot versus Piotr Jan.
Yeah, but that's only being gifted to him, though.
I don't know about being gifted, dude. Aljamain he's been on a tear.
It's being gifted to him. He lost to Pedro Munhoz. Aljamain Sterling's still a top 5 guy in 135 right now. I don't know that he would be at 45.
No.
So that's kind of where I'm running into the problem with this thing here. We'll find out though.
It's going to be a good card.
We'll find out. So
it's going to be a very good card.
You said Aljamain, or not Aljamain.
I've got Pedro by knockout
round 3. And I said that we're going to have Frankie Edgar come back, win another decision, add to his long list of decisions that he's got, and, put himself in position for maybe another title shot. I don't think he's going to win another title fight, but put him in position for potentially. Although, I will note, though, one of my big problems that I have with people going down, and this is what made this fight so hard for me to pick, guys don't do well going down in weight.
No, that's why I'm saying,
this is the problem.
He's going 55, 45, 35 now.
That's not a good sign for your career.
His chin's he's already 38.
It's not a good sign for your career at all.
Been in wars,
in wars, and he's done well in most of them.
Yeah.
Even a lot of the fights that he's lost decisions, they're still close fights.
Yeah.
He's not really been smoked by anybody besides the last 2 people who've been
Korean Zombie.
Not the last 2 people, but the 2 people who've been able to knock him out. Ortega, we didn't really get much time to see what was going on in that fight.
No.
That was a fast knockout. This last one, fairly fast knockout.
3 minutes or something, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'd like to think and believe Frankie Edgar a little bit longer.
You're right there where I was, man, when I was picking Jimmy Rivera and picking, Chris Weidman. And Chris Weidman got it done, though.
Yeah.